and welcome back to another video. So this video is very late. As you would have seen on Friday, I did do a week 1 update, and since I'm a little behind on updates, I just thought I would go ahead and post this one today on Monday. I wasn't originally going to do weekly updates for the month of August, but since I do have several readathons that I am doing in September, I just figured, you know what, I'm going to be doing weekly updates for September. I might as well finish out August and do the same thing. This might become a normal channel thing. I haven't decided yet. If you do like these weekly updates, or end up liking these weekly updates, let me know. Before we get started, go ahead and like the video and subscribe. Please watch the whole way through. That would help my engagement a lot. And with that being said, let's talk about the very few books that I've read since the last time I talked to you. So the last time that I talked to you, I had just finished Ready Player One and was almost finished with Crown of Midnight. Of course, finished Crown of Midnight, but I have also finished Hair of Fire. Did I expect to finish the first 3 books in the Throne of Glass series in the month of August? Absolutely not. I thought I was going to read this one, and then I was like, oh, I'll only read these 2, and then somehow I ended up here. So what are my opinions first and foremost? First and foremost, I am absolutely adoring the series, and I think that can be said. I think that can be compensated by the fact that I have read all 3 of those books this month. My current thoughts are that I'm really enjoying where the series is going. I was really worried about going into it, as I am worried about most books, is the hype around them and the sheer splits. There's not very many books in this, that splits the book community like Throne of Glass has, and that's what I was worried about. I'm like, am I going to end up on the unliking side? Am I going to like it? This is something completely new, and I have found that I really enjoy the series. I enjoy the plot twists that come at you. I enjoy the sheer amount of heartbreak that Sarah J. Maas brings. I love how not really complicated, but how imaginative this series is. I love so much about this series, that's really as far as I'm gonna go, because I think I'm gonna end up doing a whole discussion on just the first 3 books and then the last 3 or 4 books. I can't remember how many in total there is. But yeah, so I am really enjoying this series. I think out of everything, I really am loving the Kingdom of Yuli. I am really learning about the history of this world. I love the word keys and how mysterious and spooky they are, and how even more complicated they get in book 3, and I'm really excited to see where they're going to go in book 4. I'm really worried about Selena though, because book 1, she was obviously traumatized, going through a lot of healing. Book 2, was the effects of book 1, which was a lot. And she kind of went downhill. In book 3, she's kind of like hanging in the middle. She kind of uplifted herself, but I feel like that uplifting was good and bad at the same time, because I feel like she's headed in a really bad area, headed in a bad way instead of headed towards the good way again. So I'm curious to see where this is. I say from there, but it's in no particular order. I also, since the last time I updated you, which for you was a day, for me it's been a couple weeks. So the last update that I did, I didn't even put this book on my TBR. I read Ruin Rising for a second 24-hour readathon. So I did a Dewey's on Saturday, and that Wednesday right after, I did a 24-hour readathon. And the book that I chose to read in 24 hours was Ruin Rising. I did not expect this book to take me by storm the way it did. If you don't know, I read Season Storm a couple years ago and didn't really remember a whole bunch about it, but kind of just shot into Shadow and Bone was a couple of years ago, and then Shadow and Bone I read in April. I just kind of shot into it with no reread. Kind of regretted it, but still really enjoyed the book. And I enjoyed the first 2 books. They were 3 and 4. They were like 3 and 3.5 stars. I did enjoy them, but they really didn't profound me, like all-time favorite books. Ruin and Rising, though, had me on this roller coaster, highs and lows, so much panic, so much worry, in the best way possible. Like, Ruin and Rising is my favorite book of this, is current status my favorite book of the series until I go back and do a full reread. Absolutely loved the character development, and it was absolutely shocked by the last missing puzzle piece we were missing. The strength that we had from several of these characters surprised me. I was so happy to see a character return. I was not so happy to see that character broke. I still hate the Darkling. I don't know how y'all love the Darkling. Hannah from A Clockwork Reader just made a video about this, and I couldn't make an entire video about this, but I don't understand how any of you love the Darkling. The Darkling is toxic and just a horrible human being, especially what he does to Elena in this book. I hope I'm not getting my main character mixed up. Especially what he does to her in this book. I won't say what it is because spoilers, but I hated him, and then he deserved to be banished to hell after what he did, because that was another level of cruelty that I didn't think even the Darkling could reach. I've never had a character be so toxic. And that sounds dramatic, but it's true. I'm Team Mal all the way. I hate the fact that there's teams, but if I'm gonna choose a side, it's gonna be Mal. Mal and Nikolai. Who is she gonna date? Mal. Who is she gonna be best friends with? Nikolai all the way. Also, I can't think of names right now because outside the main characters, but like, here's to our strong characters that come from this book. If I would have read this book when I was in middle school when this came out, I definitely would have looked up to these characters, and I think I did come out of this book looking up to some of the characters as far as their strength. I will say the one warning that I do have is there's the briefest mention in the most gory way of rape, forcibly having your bones shattered and broke. I don't know if that's a trigger warning, but like I feel like it could be for some people, so just keep that in mind. I wish I would say that in the beginning, but we're here already. There, I did finish The Walking Dead, volumes 31 and 32. When I tell you that I thought, Walking Dead, zombies, going into the series, halfway through the series, I was like, oh, I love these handful of characters, literally like 75% of this series I was crying a lot because a lot of characters were being taken out. There was a lot of war that had me like panicked. These last 3 comics have had so many important conversations that I didn't expect to have at all. There was also Michonne came out my favorite character out of everybody, mainly because of the love and care that I don't know how this woman still has after everything she's been through and the things they continue to put her through in these next 3 novels. I also just want to protect Carl in every way possible. I love that in the last novel we went through one big conflict. There was a certain character that died, and that I didn't expect to die, which hurt a lot. I was in so much shock I didn't even cry. I didn't expect that character to die at all, but I did. I love in the last novel that not only did we go through one last burst of trouble, we resolved it in the most non-messy way possible. We resolved it, we cleaned it up, it went well, and then we got an epilogue. I feel like this was like one of the longest in the entire series as far as page length goes. I just love the epilogue so much. The way that they had these characters grow up and move on was really cute. There was a relationship that switched and changed that I didn't expect to switch and change, but I absolutely love how cleanly it was done. It didn't feel like there was this big surrounding question around it. And the way they remembered Rick and the original group as to what they've done to, make the society come back again. I loved it with my whole heart. I am now obsessed with The Walking Dead sheerly because of these last 3 novels. And if it wasn't for the fact that it was 32 comics long, I would probably immediately do a reread, which I never thought there would be a comic that I would reread, and I want to reread The Walking Dead series. It's like with Saga. I didn't think there was going to be a graphic novel. I thought I was just going to reread, and Saga absolutely has me wanting to reread it. So yeah, that's how that went. And then finally, sorry, I'm looking at my notes. Finally, we have Umbrella Academy spinoff, You Look Like Death. That was such a hard thing to read. I don't know why I have these expectations, but I do. For some reason, I have these expectations. I'm not saying that word wrong. I'm saying that word wrong, and I can't say it right, and I apologize. Expectations going into these novels, I just do, for whatever reason. With this one, my expectation was to, not having a difficult reading time. It's a comic, I should just be able to read it, enjoy it, move on with my life. Maybe have it kind of be a favorite by the end, or grow close to characters at the end, kind of like you do with the book. But it made me think, and it also made me feel deep. I don't know how you pronounce his name. It's either Callus or Claus. It's Klaus. First of all, trigger warning going into Look Like You Look Like Death. There is alcoholism, there is drug abuse, and there is abuse. I would say more mentally than anything else, but there's a lot that happens. There was a really important conversation around, and I think another trigger warning, there is suicide. I believe there's the briefest mention of suicide, like a little discussion. You Look Like Death really made me think. I also couldn't just read it in one sitting like I normally do with comics and graphic novels and all that kind of stuff. I've never had an experience in my life to do anything with drugs or alcohol. Well, that's not true. To do with drugs. Or really had a mix of the two, drugs and alcohol, be a problem in my life. Blessed to say that, but it's true. And yet this novel unnerved me in the best way possible. It made me think. It also made me learn I think there was some learning curves in this novel. I also think that Claus could have been treated so much better than he was. It was really interesting to see this character that kind of gets, he's there because he's in part of the Umbrella Academy, but he's kind of pushed aside because he's the black sheep of the family. He's the one no one really cares about, except maybe a couple characters. He's the one that, everyone's just like, oh yeah, he exists, we don't care. And I'm hoping this is going to be a series of books that either follows him and or follows the characters individually, because the things that his dad put him through, the siblings, the way life has treated him miserably, wow. But I love that there was an uplifting ending. You know, putting all, sorry, I'm super fidgety right now. I'm hoping that's okay. It was just really interesting to see all these important conversations. This very, very dark novel turn into something uplifting and cheerful and teaching at the same time. Like, it wasn't just like, oh, he cured overday. I hate when things just, oh, this character magically got better. No, like, it was a whole process of Claus getting better, of him learning his lesson, of seeing its effect on people through different eyes. It's him just learning a whole bunch, and at the same time, it's kind of teaching you. I really love that about this novel. Claus is still one of my favorite characters, as annoying as he is in the Umbrella Academy, and I was really sad that that's all we have of the Umbrella Academy, the first 3 graphic novels, and this one spin-off so far. I want more. I want more comics from the series. That's what I came up with. A lot of love for these characters. Okay comics, except the last one that I gave 5 stars because it took my world by storm. I'm like, no, that's not true. It took me by surprise. Ruin and Rising, out of all the books that I've read this month, Ruin and Rising is definitely... Ruin and Rising is number 1 this month. Hairfire and well, no. Hairfire being number 2. But we'll get into my rankings of my books for this month in another video. So yeah, 30 Days and 30 Reads is not where I expect it to go at all. But I still have read 15 books this month. I have read books that were absolutely not on my TBR. But as I am recording this, I still have, you know, the rest of the 20th and the rest of, you know, I have 10 more days to read books. So we'll see how it goes. I don't think I can read another 15 books in 10 days, but, you know, I did my best, and we'll see how I do on the 1st, because I hopefully, knock on wood, that I get that done. And with that being said, thank you so much for sitting through this video. If you enjoyed it, again, give it a like, subscribe, all that normal stuff. Also, to go with the normal stuff, Melissa Rose on Twitter and Instagram. I have a photography page that I'm getting ready to post on as soon as I finish this video, so go follow me over there. And yeah, I'll also have my Goodreads and Storygraph link in the description if you want pretty regular updates most of the time. I would love to see what you guys are reading, and with that being said, you are important, you are needed. I'm so glad you are here. Please do not forget that, and I will see you all in the next video very, very soon.